Welcome to our weekly Forex market analysis call, and this is in preparation for trading for the week of July 23rd to 27th, 2018. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started here. This is for educational purposes only, and trading is a risky business, so please be mindful of that. Also, summer trading tends to be a little bit more volatile than usual because a lot of people are away and the liquidity in the market is low. So just be aware of that as we are trading over the summer. All right, so we will start off by taking a look at our calendar here as usual. So Monday here, nothing critical. We have existing home sales and consumer confidence numbers for the Eurozone. Both of these will be important for US and Euro here. Other than that, we have PMI numbers. PMI numbers tend to be important, even though they're not marked in as red news. They do tend to be important, so keep that in mind. CPI number, inflation, this is the inflation number, and these numbers are becoming very important now that central banks are changing their monetary policy. We saw on Friday, inflation numbers for Canada came in strong, and as a result of that, dollar CAD dropped substantially. So just keep that in mind. The CPI numbers these days are very important. So Australia right now has not changed their monetary policy. So it's one of the banks that has been holding the monetary policy flat. So they haven't changed it. If these numbers come in positive, that will be positive for the Australian dollar there. And then on Wednesday, we have crude oil inventories. Other than that, we have German IFO business climate number. Those are important. The biggest thing, though, that we have coming up here is the ECB press conference as well as interest rate. So we saw last time ECB talked about how they were going to cut back or get rid of their asset purchase program that they have been doing since the big financial crash. So now that the economy is doing better, that's usually the first thing that goes, and then the interest rate hikes start. So they have talked about getting rid of that. So normally that would be a positive thing, but then they followed that up by saying that we are not looking to raise interest rates till summer of 2019 or the fall of 2019. So they're not clear on exactly when they're going to do that, but they suggested that it will be a year after. This is exactly what the Fed did. So this is not surprising, but the market tends to react to these comments. So we'll have to pay special attention to what happens here, what their commentary is, if they give any guidance as to when the interest rates will be raised and that type of stuff. So right now it's at 0%. We're not looking them to raise interest rates right now. So there may be more talk about getting rid of that asset purchase program and what that will look like and that type of stuff. So again, this is very important. The tone of the conversation and the comments that they make will be what will drive the prices as opposed to anticipation of interest rate hikes this time. All right, so on Friday, we have advanced GDP numbers for the US. So all in all, really, we have just one big ECB event to worry about, and that will have an impact on Euro. So do keep that in mind. Other than that, it's fairly light in terms of major data. So let's go on to the charts here. These charts are not quite organized in the way that I normally have the other ones organized. So please bear with me. But as usual, we'll start off with our Euro here. So Euro here has been trading in a range. So we have this range that price has been trading in. So the weekly close here is looking bullish. So it looks like a bullish pin bar similar to this one here. And I'm looking for price to move up higher. So first target will be a 1.1800 and then potentially higher. But 1880 will be the first target. Sorry, 1800, 1.1800 first target, and second target could be 1850. So I'm going to leave it here. And again, we do have ECB that will have an impact. So keep that in mind. So bullish for euro dollar from the weekly perspective. And let's see if we can find the pound here. Pound dollar is right here. Pound From a weekly perspective here, that is bearish. Overall, the move has been bearish in pound. It did push up, and now we have seen British pound finish bearish from weekly perspective. So this support and resistance, or this consolidation here, is kind of playing out here as well. So in this case, bias is to the downside, but we do have a large pin in the bottom, which means that prices could push up higher. So right now, my bias will be bearish. I'm looking for price to move back down in 129.50 area, but do be careful with the pullback. So this one could pull back even into the high of this candle, the pin of this candle, before it drops. So just be careful with that one. Bias is to the downside. Once it crosses 129.50, I would be looking for 128.00, which is the pin here, and also it comes from this consolidation to the left-hand side here. So same consolidation is playing out right here as well, which means that, see how long this consolidated for? We could get similar consolidation here. So be mindful of that, which means we could pull back into the 132.80 level as well. But bias is to the downside. Overall, bias is to the downside for pound dollar. Next one, let's take a look at New Zealand dollar here. The weekly is range bound at the moment. So we have this range that price has been staying in for the last few weeks. So the last 4 weeks, price has traded in this range. And as we can see, this is important support and resistance area. Price dropped through here, and now it's consolidating sideways. In terms of the candle close here, this is bullish. So we could expect price to go into the high of the range. But because right now this is a range bound move, I would look for price to go into 0.6850, and then we could get into trouble there. The price could get into trouble. So one way to look at this would be for a push into the high of the range, and then move back into the middle of the range. So for the immediate purpose will be just bullish here into the high of the range. But overall, this is range bound for New Zealand dollar. Let's see if we can find Aussie dollar here. Aussie dollar, we are looking at bullish here. It is range bound as well, just like New Zealand US dollar, but it is within that, it is bullish because we have seen, look at the number of pins here. What this means is that we could see price move higher. So I'd be looking for price to move into the high of the range. But again, because we are trading in this range, it could go into the high and then drop from there. So right now I'm looking for price to push up higher. 0.7480 will be the target here into this support resistance area. And as we can see here, price has reacted a number of times into this level. So I will look for a reaction again. But if it does break that high, we could go a little higher. It does open up this next move then, but the next target would be 0.7530. But I am, like I said, my bias is range bound on this. So I will look for a push into the high of the range. And if price shows us a reaction there, I'd be looking to bring that back into the middle of the range. So that's Aussie. Dollar CAD. All right, so for dollar CAD here, we saw a big drop. This one is looking bearish here. So we have a nice pin bar on the weekly. We have made lower high from here. So this looks good. This is the CPI numbers that actually caused the move to the downside here, but it has finished bearish. So bias is to the downside. That's a nice bearish pin bar. And looking for price to drop. First target would be 1.3050, and the second target would be 1.2920. So bias is to the downside for dollar CAD. Now let's go into our yen crosses here. Dollar yen, this is looking bearish. We see a bearish pin bar on this one as well. So so we have dollar CAD and dollar yen, both bearish pin bars. Okay, so looking for price to drop here, and the target will be to the bottom of this previous candle here. So 110.30 will be the first target. but we did have all this consolidation here to sideways as well. So second, once it breaks that 109.00 will be the second target to the downside. So bias for dollar yen is bearish. Okay, New Zealand yen. So we'll just go through all the New Zealand crosses here. That looks bearish as well. We have a long pin on the top, and so we have a pin bar. It didn't quite close in the red, but still a bearish pin bar, looking for it to drop further. Overall, as we can see, there is this trend line that price has been following here. So I'd be looking for price to maybe come into push higher into this one. It could do a retest right into this pin here, then do a drop. The bias is to the downside. First target, or actually we'll just put the target at 74.20 to the downside. So bias is bearish for New Zealand yen. Pound yen. Okay, so this one is bearish as well. And we have a nice bearish engulfing candle close here. For pound yen, I'm looking for it to drop further. And the target would be the bottom of the range here. So I'm looking for price to drop into, basically come and test the low of the range here. And 143.20 will be the target to the downside. So pound yen is looking bearish as well. Euro yen. Okay, Euro yen, a nice bearish pin bar here as well. So this is looking bearish as well. The target here will be 128.50 level. So this is also bearish. Okay, so all the yen crosses are looking quite bearish here. So that's Euro yen, Aussie yen. Okay, our Aussie yen is looking kind of range bound here as well. We see a rejection. So this is range bound within these numbers. Candle close, excuse me, candle close is bearish here, looking for price to come back down into the low of the range. 80.50 will be the target for Aussie yen. So all the yen crosses are looking bearish. So we covered all the yen crosses, all the dollar crosses. Anything else we want to cover? Let's take a quick look at oil and actually let's take a quick peek at the dollar index here. Dollar index is looking kind of range bound here. This is looking bearish. So we have a large pin here. So looking for price to move back into 93.20 level here, back into the bottom. That's a large pin bar on a dollar index. Okay, so let's see if we can find gold. I may have to open up a chart here for gold. Anything else we want to look at? We'll take a look at gold, and we'll take a look at so you know what, let's do silver here as well. So gold, silver, we'll also take a look at, actually, doesn't matter which one we look at. We'll take a look at oil here. Okay, so we got gold, silver, oil, and I'm not sure if I have Bitcoin here. I mean, let me see, BTC. Okay, so I do not see, which is strange. Okay, so I do not see BTC here. I mean, we'll take a look at that tomorrow in our trade room call, but let's go through, we'll go through gold, oil, and silver here. Okay. Gold looking bearish here. So we did go and test a test into the bottom. So overall, the move is to the downside. It has been for the last few weeks. Now we do have a pin, or we do have a large rejection here, which means it could move up higher. So essentially what I would be looking for is a pullback into the high here, into this support resistance area, and then potentially a rejection here for a move back down. Overall bias is to the downside, but now we are into support. So this was an important support where price has reacted several times. So essentially here, I'm looking for price to move up, especially if dollar index moves down. Gold is likely to move higher. And then as it reverses directions, we could see this one drop. But overall, bias is still to the downside, looking for a pullback higher, and then a drop back into the lows at 1211, back into this. And we could potentially go into 1200 level as well. And then we are likely to hit more support there. For silver here, this is looking bearish as well, looking for it to drop further, but similar situation as in gold here. We are into support. There is support to the downside, but chances are it could pull back high into this previous support resistance area, either into 15.85 or into 15.70 levels. So actually 1570, this is a nice level. So it could pull back high there, and then we could look for a rejection for it to drop. But overall, the bias is to the downside here, and that's looking quite nice. Let's take a quick peek at oil here. Oil is looking bearish as well. But with the dollar index, because these are all denominated in the US dollar, we are likely to see, especially if dollar index drops, we're likely to see these push back up a little bit. And we have a large pin in the bottom here, and this is what can cause it to go up. So think of, look at this one here. So similar situation, we have a pin in the bottom. So it goes up, pushes up higher before it drops. Same thing here as well. Price closed here, then pushed up a bit, and then dropped. So in this case, I would be looking for a pullback into 69.67 area, and then looking for a drop. Overall bias is still to the downside for oil as well. Any questions? That's all I have. Any questions before we wrap this up? Sorry, I was not able to see questions there. I'm gonna go check now. So the trade room call is for the members, for trade room members, Sam. So that I do that every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. So we covered oil, Bitcoin. I don't have the chart for the Bitcoin, but let's take a look. Let's see if we can pull up. Okay, so not my favorite chart here, but let's see if we can see something. So what's been happening with Bitcoin is that we've seen prices go up. This is where I like my own charts better. So it's trading in this range. So overall bias is still to the upside for Bitcoin. So as long as it holds above this previous high at 75.13, the bias will be to the upside, but there's no momentum left to the upside, which means chances are high that it will drop. And the first level would be 75.11. So if it holds, so I would look for a drop into 75.11. If it holds above 75.11, I would look for a test into 75.11 and move to the upside. But if it breaks through the 75.11 level, then the next level will be 74.91. Will be the second level. But it's lost momentum to the upside, which means it can drop. Okay, any other questions? Oh, Sam, no naive questions. Don't worry about it. And how does one join? You can join the trade room on my website. If you just go to tradingwithvenus.com, you will see, actually, let me just put it over here. So if you just go to another place you can go to is, this is a direct link to it, Trading with Venus, venus.thinkific.com, or you can just go to tradingwithvenus.com. You'll be able to see the link to join the trade room. All right, so that's all we have. I will wrap this up now. Thank you for your patience this morning. Hope you guys have a wonderful trading week, and I will be back again next week with another analysis. Bye for now.